Hello, everyone. Ex Wallkill Bethelite here. And at times, we need to sit back and evaluate how we were raised, especially if we were raised Jehovah's Witnesses, and decide if that's what we truly believe, and decide for ourselves what our values are and how we feel about different concepts. So, one concept is pacifism. Jehovah's Witnesses are pacifist. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, which means I was raised a pacifist. I was literally raised in a household where during a family discussion, the question came up, well, what do you do if someone breaks in our house? Keep in mind that at that time, I'm very young. My sisters are very young, right? Most of the time, you're reliant on your parents at that age. So I'm sitting in a house where someone comes up with the question while the whole family's together. If an intruder broke in our house, what would you meaning my stepdad, who was the, quote unquote family head at the time, what would you do? I kid you not, without exaggerating, he said he would run. If an intruder broke in the house, he would run out of the house. I remember my mother being upset with that answer. You just literally said that you would you'd be running down the street, leave your family to fend for themselves if an intruder came in the house. You got kids, everything, you don't care. You just run, right? This is how I was raised. I was raised around an adult who I knew if someone breaks in the house, he's running the other way. I got to figure things out for myself. And overall, this is something that fits the mentality of a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses. We just had a situation where someone went and shot up a grocery store, right? Who even thinks to do something like that? But we've got people who drive, I don't know how many miles, to go and shoot up a grocery store and then spend the rest of their life in prison. Like the level of stupidity that we have in society today, not only do we have to worry about the people who will break into people's homes, try to rob them, do all kinds of things. We got to worry about people shooting up random stores. We also have to worry about the police, right? Because I think America, we probably have, if not the worst police, one of the worst in the world. Because, me personally, I just left the Internal Affairs Division to report a police officer opening my door and all kinds of things, right? And here's the kicker. Typically, these police are pulling people over for virtually no reason, right? They pull you over for suspicion. So in my case, it was suspicion that, it was the investigation of the car paint. My car's painted a different color than what it was when it was originally made way back in, I don't know, 12 years ago or something. So because of that, he's suspicious, right? No. Nobody looks at a car, sees it's been painted, and immediately thinks the driver is a car thief. That's racial profiling, right? It's a black person in a painted car. That's why we pull them over. But we got to understand that criminals are not allowed to just go around harassing people on the street. They don't just patrol the streets harassing people, right? It's the police we have to worry about that are just out in the community just pulling people over because they painted their car, right? Open my door after I gave them a driver's license, vehicle, my proof of insurance, opening my car door, everything. Could be trying to plant something, I don't know, right? We don't even have to worry about the grocery store getting shot up. We can't even get to the grocery store without cops pulling us over to investigate the paint on our cars. This is the reality we live in, and Jehovah's Witnesses live in the same reality. And you got people who are now elders who believe that if an intruder comes into their house to steal, rob, harm, well, they're going to jump out a window and start running. Leave everybody else in the house. Right? So, what do you believe? Are you a pacifist? Do you think that's the right way to live? With all the things that I mentioned, and that is just a fraction of what there actually is to worry about. Do you think the right thing to do is essentially nothing? Sit back and think God is going to fix everything when the end of the world comes. We'll just wait for the end of the world, then everything will be fixed. We won't do anything about actually anything, right? No, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. Do you? I don't believe that at all. Immediately after leaving the Internal Investigations Unit to report, cops are pulling me over, giving them my driver's license, giving them my proof of insurance because they think I stole my car because it's painted. And then they're still opening my car door, even though they see my driver's license matches my license plate and everything. Right? This is more involved than just they're worried about painted cars. Right? So immediately after leaving the Internal Investigations Unit, which Jehovah's Witness probably just pray about it, figure God will just fix everything. Right? Wait till the end of the world. Then we don't need police. We'll just wait till the end of the world. That'll fix it. No, I went to the Internal Investigations Unit to go report it. And then after I reported it, I literally left the police station and went right to the gun store. Because I'm not just going to sit around and you got criminals. You got crazy people shooting up grocery stores. You got police that are just out and they're able to do whatever they want based off suspicion. You got all this going on and I'm just going to sit and wait for the end of the world to fix it? No. I went to the gun store immediately in order to take steps to protect myself. Hopefully I don't have to use it, but with all the crazy things going on in the world, unfortunately, it's probably a good chance that I may have to. And if I have to, this particular weapon, this thing is designed to kill. If I have to, this gun has got like 15 shots in the clip right now. I got another clip. It's got 17 in it. These clips come out quick. Right? I'm a responsible gun owner. I'm not going to do all that here on the camera, but these clips come out quick. So 15 shots, other clip about 17. That's 30 plus shots of don't do that, right? I'm not running, jumping out no window and running. I'm not just sitting around waiting for cops to plant something in my car. That's not logical to me. Just sit and wait and let whatever happen, happen. That's not logical to me. I'm going to say don't do that. And if the verbal don't do that isn't sufficient, we got 15 don't do that's that can be fairly convincing. Right? Very convincing. 15 don't do that. And they're not going to be polite about it. So that's my view. But you understand, as a community, everybody is entitled to their own view. Some people may leave Jehovah's Witnesses and decide that they are pacifists at heart. And if you are, then that's okay, because everybody's responsible for them. Right? Marcus is responsible for Marcus. You are responsible for you. Take precautions, do what you need to do to keep yourself safe. But it's important to think about, because we came from a religion of pacifism, and we are in a world of people who are the polar opposite. Criminals, they ain't pacifists. The lunatics out shooting up grocery stores and churches, they ain't pacifists. The cops out pulling people over not because they broke a law, because they're suspicious. That is the most ridiculous concept that has ever been brought forth that I can think of, is to get a whole bunch of people out of high school, give them all guns, and tell them just patrol and find stuff that you think is suspicious and do whatever. Start pulling people out of cars, do all kinds of stuff because you think something's suspicious. That is the dumbest thing in the world. But it is the world we live in. So it's a question of, do you do nothing? Do you just pray about it? Or, people have used their God-given knowledge to manufacture things that will put a stop to whoever is doing things they ought not. I'm not saying go get a firearm if you don't believe in the right to bear arms. If you don't believe it, then don't do it. But what I'm saying is the Jehovah's Witness concept that we're just going to be in the grocery store getting shot up. We're not going to do anything about it. We're just going to wait for the end of the world. It's up to you if that's what you want to do. Ultimately, it's up to you if that's what you want to do. Everybody can make up their own mind. If you want to go and get a firearm, go and get a firearm. If you feel more comfortable with mace, go get mace. If you feel more comfortable with a knife, go get a knife. I mean, do it legally, of course. But, yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm not just going to sit around waiting for criminals, waiting for crazy people, waiting for cops, and do nothing to protect myself. I'm going to do everything known to man to protect myself or my family, right? If something were to go left. So I'm as far away from the Jehovah's Witness stance as possible, right? I think with the homeless situation, well, we would need to do something about that. Jehovah's Witnesses, what do they think? Well, we're just going to pass out watchtowers. That's their magazine. We're just going to pass out our magazine and wait for the end of the world. When the end of the world comes, then there won't be any more homeless people, so we'll just wait. Right? I think something ought to be done about police. If I go on YouTube and there are more videos than can be counted with police proving that a lot of them are just not good people, and they're doing it with cameras on, well, I think something should be done about it. People should go make reports. People should arm themselves. People should do things. What do the Jehovah's Witnesses think? Well, we're not going to do anything about that. Food shortages, all kinds of things. What do Jehovah's Witnesses think? We're not even going to provide a fund for our own. Right? Jehovah's Witnesses are probably the worst with that because, correct me if I'm wrong, the Amish are also, somewhat pacifist, right? They stay among their own. They have their own community. They don't really get involved with things outside of it. But I think they do take care of each other, right? Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't even do that. They just shun. They just shun, right? They don't do too much of anything unless the individual person just wants to, but the quote-unquote organization itself doesn't have anything set up to assist a Jehovah's Witness in need. So I guess if something happens, you just got to wait for the end of the world to come. Right? That concept just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make a lick of sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So let's all examine how we were raised, what we were taught, and decide for ourselves whether or not we truly believe those things and actually do something that Jehovah's Witnesses don't do, and that's think for ourselves. We don't need someone to tell us our stance on the right to bear arms. We don't need someone to tell us our stance on any number of issues. We can decide for ourselves what our stance is and then take action to put ourselves more in line with that. That goes for abortion. That goes for anything. We don't need someone to tell us. What I used to do when I first came out of the cult, maybe you can relate to this, but what I did when I first came out of the cult is I used to ask a lot of people questions, and they'd all look at me crazy, right? Because I'm from a cult. They're not. I'm asking them, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And what do you... And they're like, man, this guy asks a lot of questions. They're not realizing that I'm formulating my view, and I'm not used to thinking on my own. So I've got to at least start getting other people's opinions, right? I used to bug people at work. Oh, man, I used to bug people at work. And they just look at me like, will you shut up? But no, I'm coming from a cult where literally there's no view I have that's my own. Literally, there is no view that I have that's my own. Nothing. So it took time, but eventually I began to be able, and all of us will, to, without asking someone else, make up my own mind, regardless of whether or not somebody else agrees with it or not, on how I feel about various issues. On down the line, I've thought of it myself on what I think about these various issues. And we all can do that. And that is a very empowering thing that nobody can disfellowship you for using your own, if you're religious, God-given mind, right? Jehovah's Witnesses believe God gave everybody a brain just to let Watchtower decide everything. Just let some men in Brooklyn think up everything for them, right? Because they think these men in Brooklyn are just attached to God somehow. We don't have to do that anymore. So you got Jehovah's Witnesses that live their entire life and never live their lives according to their own principles, their own thoughts on matters. But we have it 100 times better, where we can live our lives 100% according to our thoughts and views and be unapologetic about it. Me, I'm unconcerned about someone else's views on firearms, right? Because for me, my view trumps theirs. I'm not even going to ask people what they think about things like that, right? I've got my own view about what's going on with grocery stores and all the. We all have that right. So comment down below, and that's what I've been saying for probably years. That's been my point whenever I'm saying, comment down below, share your thoughts. I'm not necessarily there to judge your thoughts, but if a person is sharing Watchtower thoughts, that's what we're trying to get away from. We want people to be able to share their thoughts. What are your thoughts on various issues? What do you do to protect yourself? 937-789-4029. I mean, I can't in good conscience talk about Jehovah's Witnesses, right? And we know Jehovah's Witnesses are bad. Like I said before, you can't even type in the word in YouTube without there being more videos filled with people all sharing negative experiences all over the world saying the same thing. Well, then you think that Jehovah's Witnesses are probably bad, like they say. They're not all lying. Well, how can I talk about Jehovah's Witnesses when you look up police, particularly in America, on YouTube, and you just see they're probably killing more people than the criminals. Like you see video after video, just like you would see video after video of us talking about how bad Watchtower is. You got that many videos of people talking about how bad the police are. Well, that possibly means that they're pretty bad. Really bad. So, of course, I have to, in being an activist, not just be preferential to Jehovah's Witnesses. This is what some people think when they watch the videos. No, I have to be outspoken about all of the things that are overwhelmingly affecting people to the point where they're just shouting out on YouTube how bad it is. YouTube is where everybody they have their freedom of speech. They're just shouting out how bad the police are. Right? You didn't have riots. What started the riots? The police. It don't even make sense, right? They're just that bad. They made that many people angry. So, of course, I'm going to be looking to get involved with different organizations, and we all have that right and that ability to decide what things are our passion and pursue those things unapologetically. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. 937-789-4029. We'll discuss it. I'm going to put this down. X Wall Kill Bethelot signing out.